Good afternoon. This is Media Center, Ukraine, Odessa, and we continue with the briefing dedicated to consequences of the attack on Odessa overnight. And our speaker is Nataliya Humenyuk, Chief of the Joint Coordination Press Office of the Security and Defense Forces in the south of Ukraine. Good afternoon. So let's start with the question about how many kamikaze drones were launched by Russians and what are the consequences. Glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes. Yes, this is just yet another attack. Unfortunately, we often say that this is a repeated attack. Actually, we are getting used to it, and we need to understand that such attacks will be repeated until the enemy has weaponry. This night, we recorded launches from different tactics. They are trying to exhaust our air defense system and try to find the routes which are more efficient when it comes to the strikes. So first, they attacked from the south and east, then from the south, and in our area of responsibility, we got drones launched from Chauda in the Crimean Peninsula, and they were separated in several groups. They also used the territory of the temporarily occupied Kherson region to achieve their goals. They tried to change their route. They tried to make it more complicated. This means that perhaps their navigation system has been modified, and they tried to reach the port infrastructure facilities, which are operative when it comes to the grain deal between Ukraine and the whole world, excluding the terrorist state. After Russia went out from this grain deal, such attacks have become repeated, and they're trying to target the potential of the infrastructure facilities and their capacities that Ukraine uses. Unfortunately, there is a strike damaging grain elevator and also the stocks that were there. The impact is being assessed. There are also the damages to houses. There was the fire that was quickly put out. Unfortunately, an elderly woman was injured. She got burns, and her condition is stable, but she was referred to the hospital. And we can see about significant efficiency of the air defense forces. 4 drones were destroyed in the Mykolaiv region, where they tried to get through our defense system using a difficult trajectory, and other drones were destroyed over Odesa region. And we could speak about joint forces of different parts of the armed forces of Ukraine, including border guard services and land troops. As for the damage to the civilian infrastructure, this will be assessed by the relevant investigation bodies, and experts should assess the consequences. But in any case, I would like to remind that the enemy uses trajectories using the routes not only over port facilities, but also over residential areas. And that's why there are possible debris causing fire, and fire is quite a significant impact on housing sector. There was the information that Russians use the airspace of Romania for their attacks. Can you confirm this? We don't have an official confirmation, but they use at least the line of the border guard, of the state border, and to stop the response of the air defense system of Ukraine. They try to provoke a conflict between Ukraine and its neighbors, like with Poland, Romania, Moldova, and they try to use the state borderline for us not to shoot down their drones. But we warned about that. Our neighbors, they are civilized countries, they fully understand the situation, and they understand that this is the war. We are defend ourselves, so we try to preserve lives of our people. And there was also information that in September, Russians launched a record number of Shaheds. And our air forces say that we should expect massive attacks using these UAVs. Are they supplied from Iran, or has Russia started its own manufacturing? We've seen several times that the shot down Shaheds were from Iran with the specific with the specific marking, but we also have already seen the UAVs produced on their territory. They use their alphabet for marking their Shaheds, underlining this fact. And as far as I understand, you've been examining debris of UAVs since autumn last year. Have you seen modernization of these UAVs Shaheds? We do not have confirmation of some significant upgrades, but we should expect that they will continue trying to work on acoustic effect and actually following the analysis of trajectory, we can see that they interfere with the GPS navigation. One of the Shaheds was just hit the territory near houses near Belgorod-Dnistrovsky, killing several civilians, and we don't have such information. There are some Telegram channels providing this information. I'm just trying to verify this information. We should understand that when it comes to the hybrid war, no, it's not Belgorod-Dnistrovsky, but Belgorod, the Russian city. This is not our area of responsibility. Your answer is clear. As for Shaheds, you have not noticed any significant modernization. So we should expect that they're trying to upgrade the GPS navigation, but we have not noticed no other critical changes of the system. We can see intensified attacks on the Zmyny Island, and Russians use controlled air bombs. And as far as I understand, they are trying to stop the Green Corridor using these attacks. Yes, they don't like that our defense is able to protect this grain corridor and ensuring operations of the Ukrainian ports. And we cannot ensure operations of all the Black Sea ports because of the presence of the enemy there, but we can see that their attacks with the controlled aerial bombs is the emphasized demonstration of their dominance in that area, and they understand that they are still dominant in the air. And they try to prevent vessels from getting to that territory area without any risk for them. So this is their terror with such bombs. After attacks on Crimea, Russia has taken its fleet from Novorossiysk to Novorossiysk. Do you have any information about Russians fleeing from the Crimea? Or perhaps you have some information about the movements of Russian troops closer to their border? This is a long-term process, and it started with the occupation of the right bank of the Kherson region, and we still can see different waves of people fleeing, and they do not feel secure there in the Crimea. It's not like home anymore there for them. So now is the key task is to make Russians gradually leave Crimea, including military bases, to ensure, so to say, demilitarization of Crimea. The demilitarization of Crimea will be in any case, but the question is about the means. Ukrainians are kind-hearted. We are not aggressive. But if someone attacks us and we have something to respond, and our range is understandable, we will make them leave our peninsula, and they still have the choice how to do that. One more question. We can see intensified use of attacks, but they use less missiles. What is the reason? Do you try to accumulate those missiles for a massive attack, or there is a lack of supplies? Just theoretically, they have used a lot of their stocks and supplies of missiles. Sanctions have not stopped the full supply of spare parts, but they have made it more complicated, and perhaps they need just more time to accumulate missiles. And just not to waste this time, they try to compensate with drone attacks, because they have UAVs, and also they also use targeted missile attacks. They still often use ballistic missiles in different regions. And we know about that atrocities using ballistic missile. The questions from the floor. Michael Versura, Newsweek Journal magazine. Do you have information or some conclusion of intensified attacks on Ismail? This is because they want to target port infrastructure facilities, or do they want to demonstrate that they're still able to attack the territories closer to the NATO borders? I don't think that they want to frighten NATO countries. This is just their usual terror. And this terror affects the whole world. They demonstrate to the whole world that they still can't insist on their conditions. This is how they see the situation, because they try to destroy the grain potential of Ukraine, to squeeze it out of the grain initiative. Moreover, the port infrastructure is a priority for them, to prevent the possibility of using Ukrainian ports and for them to offer their ports instead. After Russia left the grain deal, how many grain has been destroyed? Don't you know some average numbers? You should ask the Ministry of Agricultural Policy. Thank you very much, Ms. Humenyuk, for joining us today, and we will continue at 12:30 noon.